Hey everybody, this is your daily dose of all things royal. Well, hello, my gorgeous, good looking friends. I'm back today, and every day I seem to find myself going down this rabbit hole when it comes to the royal family and the disruption that this chick, Meghan Markle, has caused. Yesterday, Meghan was exposed for not actually being the one that speaks to some of the guests. And what's interesting is that The Spectator writes this pretty much bold in your face article about how Meghan Markle is like one of the laziest interviewers because she doesn't even take the time to engage with the people that are less famous on a conversation in which she is actually telling people that she's engaging with, which I can't say I'm surprised, but at the same time, it's like, what did this woman do aside from read from a script? Because technically that's what has been going on. And you got to wonder who wrote the script. I don't think it would be her. Let me correct that. Anytime she was talking about herself or lying about herself and her past, it was always Meghan Markle. But when it came to the more intellectual stuff, it was clearly not done by her and was scripted. So this had me thinking today, what does this woman actually do aside from looking at herself and talking about herself all the time? And when she's not doing that, whining about something that is not fair or how she's a victim. Like, what has she done that actually is not self-serving? This is not just a lazy interviewer. This is a person who is lazy overall. It appears to me that this is an exercise in cutting corners, and we see this cutting corners in other areas where Meghan doesn't want to put in the work, but she wants to get all the credit and glory. We see it time and time again. If she can buy an award, she'll buy an award. If she can attach herself to a charity, she'll take credit as if she was the one that has been initiating and doing the work that the charity had been doing. We saw that with that recent Ving pseudo partnership in which Meghan just attached her name to it. What gets me is that she has people to help her with all facets of her life and still couldn't pull off this one project by delivering something that was not even mediocre. It was like way below average and, quite frankly, garbage. This is what I don't understand. What could she be so busy with that she had to just sort of half-ass this effort? This could have been a really good podcast, but it sucks because she just doesn't care, and you can tell that from it. And we see this consistent pattern where she starts off really strong, but then she doesn't make it to the end. And this was the case with becoming a working royal. Meghan's really good at hooking everybody, but she has an issue when it comes to closing. And when I say closing, meaning, like as a salesman, there's successful salesmen who can get in the door, sell, but then once they sell you the product, then they're out. They don't care anymore. And I feel like this was the situation that she was so eager to show that she was ready to hit the ground running and that, she was going to do everything that she could to be a part of the team. But once she got that ring on her finger and that marriage certificate signed, that was it. She was out. And it was like, what did you just sell us? A bag of crap. And now they're out. And this is what a used car salesman, when you think of those sleazy used car salespeople, they paint this wonderful picture of being everything and anything that, yes, you're sold into buying it. And then once you have it, you realize that it was nothing that they told you it was going to be. And that's what happened. I truly believe this was one of those sleazy used car salesman situations. And like now, you're just stuck with it. You can't get rid of it. And you ended up spending so much money and you find out it's just a lemon. That's what Harry ended up with, a lemon. And what is really insightful was that when Spotify was pressuring the Harkles to produce something this year for their $30 million, Thomas Markle spoke out against his daughter, saying essentially that he didn't think that she was going to be able to pull it off.
I don't think that Meghan will follow through, or it's just my opinion, but So far, Meghan and Harry have not completed anything they've started.
Her own father indirectly is calling her a quitter and not being able to complete things. So what does that tell you? And knowing that she is a narcissist, if it doesn't pertain to her, she could care less. And this trait was shown early on in 2013, when Rachel wasn't even worth a mention in the Suits credit on the first season. I went back to this interview or this Q&A panel that was held by the Paley Media Center. This Q&A with the cast of Suits happened in January of 2013, and for some reason, Paley Media Center had pulled only this Q&A down. Not sure why. I happen to have it saved from years ago when I first started thinking something was really off about this chick. I'm surprised nobody talked about this before, but in this Q&A, the actors were each asked their favorite cast member episode moments and why. Rick Hoffman, the guy that you see here, gave examples of every cast member and said how he learned from each of them. At the same time, in a joking manner, or I think it was a little bit of a dig, he called Meghan Markle out big time.
We have watched, which we need to get into, Meghan not watching any episodes. That'll come later.
Which we need to get into, Meghan not watching any episodes. That'll come later.
So let me give you some perspective. This was in January of 2013, and the second season of Suits was actually underway in being aired. So obviously Meghan was not the big-time star that everybody had thought she was when she met Prince Harry. She was very much mortified here.
All right. But I've watched them all, and like they're out of everyone, like you just learn something. And I found that to be, that's a first. I just find I could name every single moment that I've learned from the five of them that I like wish I could actually, somehow use,
This actually reminded me of the Piers Morgan interview he just did with Cristiano Ronaldo. And in that interview, he had mentioned that the teammates didn't want to learn from Cristiano. And Piers Morgan found that so bizarre because Cristiano is by far one of the greatest soccer players or football players that has ever lived. He really is an amazing person. And I just, I thought about that, and just seeing this here, I feel like it's the same situation. The ego and the arrogance of Meghan prevents her from growing or learning as a person. And it's why she is stuck talking about this dish soap commercial in every single thing that she does. It's the same thing with her vocabulary. It's very limited. I mean, how many times are we going to have to hear her say layers or through a lens? Like, get some new material, man.
There's a really nice respect that everybody, I think, ultimately has for one another.
I'm curious, I want to go back to something to you that you said, Rick, that Meghan doesn't watch the show. And I hear that a lot of times actors don't watch anything that they do.
By the way, she won't talk to me for about 5 days after.
By the way, I never said that publicly. I say that to you.
But that's the thing. She said it. So own it.
It's fine. No one will see this.
Yeah. It's a safe space.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's not. Everyone online watching globally, don't say anything.
What's interesting is that she's clearly embarrassed. So her co-star, that guy next to her, Patrick J. Adams, comes to her defense as he clearly sees how uncomfortable she is, giving Meghan some time to come up with some excuse.
But I mean, it's a serious question because I think if you watch the work while it's happening, you can get in your own head about it. I mean, is that sort of the reason for it? You don't want to sort of take yourself out of the performance.
I'll back Meghan up with this because, as kind of the two, this is really a first time for both of us doing this series. I think we both really joined in that. We couldn't watch it. The whole first season, it was really actually kind of destructive to watch it because it really did get us in our heads about it.
For Patrick J. Adams, that was a legitimate excuse, and let me show you why. Please take a look at this chart. What is mapped out here is the Suits, the show, the character's screen time in minutes. In season 1, there were 12 episodes, which means that there were 12 hours of screen time available for season 1. As you can see at the top, Mike Ross, which is the character that guy played, had 374 minutes of screen time throughout the entire first season of Suits. You scroll down, you can see Rachel Zane, aka Rachel Raglan, had only 99 minutes of screen time across 12 hours of Suits. If you do the math, what does that tell you? It tells you that Mike Ross, aka Patrick J. Adams, had about 6 hours worth of screen time, or possibly 6 episodes, or spread across all 12 episodes, at least 30 minutes in each one, to be able to say that he didn't want to watch the show because he didn't want to get inside his head because he was in almost every single episode. When you look at Rachel Raglan's appearance in screen time, she literally, if you do the math and calculation, she literally had 1% of screen time, which maybe she had a line here and there. Nice try, Patrick J. Adams, but the reason why Megan didn't watch the series the first go-around was because she wasn't in the episodes, and she only watched herself, as stated here.
And we didn't have the experience, I think, moving forward, but, both you and I have talked about being able to watch it a little bit more, and now I feel like I'm starting to enjoy the show, but when it does feel like it gets getting in your head and it's affecting your performance or making it difficult to connect to the material, then that's dangerous.
So Megan chimes in to give her voice just to talk, to hear herself talk, but makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, and especially watching them after the fact. It's like, what are you going to do then? And...
You call up Aaron and you say...
Right.
More crying.
Right.
And now she goes and makes it about herself, when the original question was about watching episodes about her castmates. Take a listen.
Tough, and it gets into that actor stuff. My dad's a DP, a lighting director, so my entire life I grew up watching shows, and he would always point out the lighting. So I could never watch things without noticing the lighting or those things. So now as an actress, to watch it, I can't help but nitpick, specifically about myself. The disservice that it does for me is that I love my cast. I want to watch their scenes so desperately.
This is such a stupid response because it's almost saying like you can't watch TV because the lighting distracts you so much, which we all know that she does watch TV. We all know the reason why Megan didn't watch her fellow castmates in the other episodes where she wasn't featured was because she wasn't featured. So let's call it what it is. It wasn't about her. There's a reason why this woman constantly uses the same stories and the same vocabulary, as well as appear to be stuck as if she's still 12 years old. The reason is because she refuses to learn and she refuses to grow. And with that, this is the behavior that we're going to get. You can't teach an old dog, or shall I say an old bitch, new tricks. On that note, what do you guys think? Leave your comments below. I will be back tomorrow with some more content. Until then, be safe. Bye.
I was such a fraud.